Fools. They thought they were clever. Oh, they really did. They spent nights rehearsing your destruction like it was theater. Every scene staged, every reaction scripted. They believed you'd play the part of the fool, walk right into their little cage, and thank them for the hospitality. They built the perfect illusion, baited with flattery, lined with expectation, sealed with arrogance. But the funny thing about illusions is that once you learn how they're built, you stop being impressed by the show. You don't gasp anymore. You yawn. And that's what you did, didn't you? You saw through the colors, through the choreography, through the desperate need they had to control the outcome. You watched them choreograph betrayal, like amateurs pretending to be masterminds. And instead of taking the bait, you tilted your head, observed, and smiled with that knowing look that drives them insane. Because nothing enrages a manipulator more than the prey refusing to panic. They called it strategy. You called it entertainment. They thought they were architects of chaos. You were the chaos they couldn't predict. You see, traps aren't about wires and triggers. They're about emotion. They rely on your fear, your greed, your need to prove something. But when you don't need anything from them, the whole mechanism collapses. You became the void inside their plan. They expected reaction, and you gave them nothing but precision. That's the real art of war. Not destruction, but detachment. And while they waited for you to take the first step, you already mapped every outcome, every backstab, every false apology. You saw their hands shaking under the table, their eyes flicker when they said, "Trust me." You saw it all. You knew it all. And now they hate that you saw it before it happened. Because they built the trap for a version of you that doesn't exist anymore. The old one would have defended themselves, argued, begged to be understood. The old one would have fallen for sympathy wrapped in guilt. But you became the version that studies tone, reads micro-expressions, and notices when someone's kindness smells rehearsed. You learned that people rarely lie with words. They lie with timing. And timing was the one thing they couldn't disguise from you. So when they pulled the lever, when they thought you were cornered, you were already 3 moves away, waiting for them to realize that they'd just locked themselves in. You should have seen their faces when the plan backfired. No, you did see them. That twitch in their jaw, the moment of disbelief that maybe, just maybe, you weren't the idiot they built in their heads. That was the moment you won. Not when you retaliated, not when you exposed them, but when you didn't flinch. Because control isn't about shouting. It's about stillness. It's about holding eye contact long enough for the liar to hear his own heartbeat. It's about silence that bends the room until truth starts confessing by itself. You let them drown in the quiet of your observation. They panicked. They confessed without words. You didn't need to threaten them. Your awareness was the weapon. And now, they're furious. Furious that the puppet cut its own strings. Furious that the victim became the observer. Furious that the script burned before the play began. They keep replaying it in their heads, searching for the moment they lost control. Was it when you didn't respond to the insult? When you refused the offer that looked too generous? When you smiled instead of explaining yourself? They can't pinpoint it, and that's what destroys them. Because they live in a world where everything needs an explanation, and you've become the one variable they can't measure. You know what really scares them? It's not your intelligence, it's your unpredictability. Intelligence they can imitate. Unpredictability they can't decode. You act like someone who knows the ending but enjoys watching others guess. That's infuriating to them, because the power they seek through manipulation, you already have it through awareness. You don't chase control. You are control. Every move they make now, they second guess. Every word they say, they overthink. You've infected their confidence with doubt, their lies with hesitation. They wanted to trap you physically, but you trapped them mentally. That's the kind of revenge that doesn't require shouting. It just requires being unbothered. They'll call you cold now, detached, ruthless. They'll say you've changed, that you've lost compassion. But compassion without discernment is just fuel for parasites. They fed off your kindness for years, mistook it for permission. Now they face boundaries sharp enough to draw blood. You don't raise your voice anymore, you raise the standard. And those who can't meet it crumble under their own manipulation. That's not cruelty. That's evolution. When they set the trap, they expected emotion. Instead, they met calculation. They tried to bait your empathy. You dissected their motives. They rehearsed your downfall. You rehearsed their psychology. Every time they tried to provoke you, you turned it into data. Every insult became intel. Every betrayal became blueprint. You studied the structure of deceit until you could predict its rhythm. And once you understand rhythm, you can lead the dance. That's what you did. You let them dance first. Then you took the lead without ever touching them. Now they call it manipulation when you do it. But that's just projection. See, the manipulator's nightmare is someone who manipulates the manipulator. Someone who doesn't react, doesn't bite, just watches. And that's you. You became the mirror they never wanted to face. Because when they look at you now, they see every intention they once hid. They see the lie, the jealousy, the hunger for control, all reflected back without mercy. You didn't punish them, you exposed them to themselves. And that's a punishment they can't escape. They'll start rewriting history soon. They'll tell people you're dangerous, untrustworthy, unpredictable. They'll smear your name just to soothe their ego. But don't you see? That's confession disguised as gossip. When they say you're dangerous, what they really mean is, we couldn't control them. When they say you're untrustworthy, they mean they stopped believing our lies. And when they say you've changed, they mean we can't exploit them anymore. Every accusation is a translation of insecurity, so let them talk, let them project. Every rumor is free advertising for your evolution. You didn't outsmart them by luck. You did it because you finally stopped explaining yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. You stopped negotiating with clowns who believed chaos was a game they could win. You understood that traps only work on those who need something. Once you stopped needing validation, the trap lost its teeth. That's what they can't process. You made yourself emotionally uncatchable. They can't use guilt. They can't use pity. They can't use praise. You became immune to manipulation, and that immunity is their downfall. But let me tell you a secret. The real victory isn't that you escaped. It's that they revealed themselves, trying to catch you. You learned their hierarchy, their alliances, their weak points. You learned who smiles when you bleed and who hides when you rise. That's intelligence born from betrayal. You don't need cameras. You don't need spies. Human nature reports itself if you stay still long enough. And that's what they never grasped. They mistake your calm for naivety. They think patience is passivity. But patience is preparation wearing a quiet mask. It's the art of letting someone dig their own grave while thinking they're planting flowers. Now they scramble, they whisper, they rewrite, they try to rebuild a reputation they destroyed with their own panic. But you've moved beyond that game. You don't need to expose them publicly. The universe does that for you. That's the beauty of self-awareness. It turns every lie into evidence, every plan into prophecy. They're furious, not because you fought back, but because you didn't need to. They wanted drama. You gave them data. They wanted chaos. You gave them clarity, and clarity kills deceit faster than fire. You want to know why they're obsessed with you now? Because they can't figure out what drives you. They can't find your weakness. You've become the unsolved equation in their tiny minds. And that's torture to egos built on control. They can't move on until they decode you. But every attempt drags them deeper into confusion. They study your calm, your unpredictability, your refusal to play their games. And the more they study, the more they realize they were never the hunters. They were the experiment. See, people like them need enemies. They need opposition to justify their narrative. Without a villain, they have no identity. And when you refuse to play villain or victim, you erased their reason for existence. You turned their war into theater with no audience. Now they're left performing rage to an empty room. That's what drives them mad, the absence of control, the loss of purpose. Because what's a puppeteer without strings? Just another fool waving his hands in the dark. You're past revenge now. Revenge is reaction. What you did was correction. You corrected the imbalance between illusion and awareness. You showed them that perception can be weaponized, that knowing too much is a kind of power they can't legislate. You taught them that intelligence isn't about proving you're right. It's about making others realize they were never even in the same game. And once that lesson sinks in, their fury becomes admiration in disguise. Because deep down, even your enemies respect precision. They wish they could see through people the way you do. They wish they could detach without losing empathy. But that requires discipline, and discipline terrifies them more than any weapon. Now they'll pretend they never cared. They'll pretend the trap never existed. But denial is just guilt wearing perfume. Every time they see you, they'll remember that failure. Every time your name comes up, they'll feel that sting in their ego. That's your permanent mark. You don't haunt them with presence. You haunt them with awareness. You turned their manipulation into their mirror. And once a liar sees their reflection, they can never unsee it. So what happens next? They regroup. They plan again. They try to set a bigger, smarter trap. But every new attempt reveals the same flaw. They still think you can be predicted. They still think logic can outmatch intuition. But intuition, my friend, is chaos with a conscience. It's what separates the observer from the participant. You've learned to read patterns, anticipate moves, feel motives. You've made awareness your shield and unpredictability your sword. And while they're busy calculating your downfall, you're rewriting the equation entirely. They don't realize yet that you're not reacting, you're evolving. You're not dodging traps anymore. You're studying them. You're turning manipulation into research. Every new betrayal becomes material for mastery. That's the part they'll never understand. You turned their warfare into education. You became a scholar of deceit, a surgeon of energy, dissecting intentions until nothing impure remains. And now you move differently. Every step is informed. Every pause is strategy. You don't respond to noise. You respond to vibration. And that's why they're furious. Because they wanted chaos, but you became precision. They wanted a victim, but you became a ghost they can't touch. You dismantled the trap without breaking a sweat. You turned survival into art. And when art meets awareness, control dies. They'll keep coming, of course. They have to. It's the only way they feel alive. But you've already outgrown the battlefield. You don't need to prove dominance when existence itself bends to your perception. So now, as they spiral into their fury, remember this. Their anger is just applause in disguise. It's how the defeated honor the one who saw through them. Let them rage, let them plot, let them whisper your name like a curse. You and I both know it's not a curse, it's a confession. The confession that they built a trap so perfect, so foolproof. Except for one flaw. They built it for someone who still believed in rules. And you don't. Because the game changes the moment you stop playing by theirs and start creating your own. That's the part they never accounted for. They thought control came from the cage, not realizing that the moment you stopped fearing confinement, the walls lost meaning. You became something they can't categorize, a presence that doesn't react the way they rehearsed. That's what drives them mad now. You're no longer the predictable experiment. They are. Their anger is proof that they're still inside the game, while you've already stepped outside of it, rewriting the rules with every quiet move. And the funny thing about fury is that it always exposes hierarchy. The loudest one in the room isn't the most powerful, it's the most desperate. They scream because they need witnesses. You don't. You operate in consequence, not attention. They still whisper about how you did it. They replay it in their heads, hoping the memory will rearrange into something that flatters them. But no matter how they edit the story, it ends the same way, with them realizing that their perfect little maze was transparent from the start. You saw the pattern in the tiles, the repetition in their behavior, the way manipulation always follows the same rhythm: approach, flatter, disarm, exploit. You saw it because you've lived it too many times before. So you stopped reacting emotionally and started observing mathematically. People became equations, predictable variables, fueled by insecurity. Once you recognize the formula, the trick loses its power. And when that happens, you stop being prey. You become prediction itself. You didn't fight them directly. You dismantled them logically. Every response of yours felt like a glitch in their choreography. Every pause a reminder that you weren't playing their tempo. They built the stage expecting you to panic. Instead, you turned the spotlight on them. You let them perform their deception until exhaustion set in. You watched as the cracks appeared, tiny inconsistencies, nervous laughter, a slip of arrogance. You gave them space to expose themselves. That's the genius of restraint. It's the art of letting someone think they're winning until they've dug too deep to retreat. And now they're furious because you never gave them the satisfaction of an argument. They wanted confrontation, something loud, theatrical, emotional. But you understood that silence can be louder than any explosion. You let them destroy themselves through over-explanation, through guilt masquerading as justification. They kept talking, hoping you'd react. And when you didn't, the silence became unbearable. They started confessing to crimes you never accused them of. That's the power of psychological gravity. You pull truth out of liars simply by holding your ground. Now they call you manipulative. That's projection again, the last defense of someone exposed. When they say you twisted things, what they mean is you stopped accepting their version of reality. When they call you dangerous, what they mean is your awareness threatens their illusion. You see, manipulation only works on those who fear isolation. Once you embrace solitude, their entire control structure collapses. They can't bribe you with belonging anymore. You've outgrown their currency. So they retaliate with distortion. They start building narratives, half-truths, glued together by emotion. They need others to see you through the lens of their failure because that's the only way they can feel powerful again. But here's the thing about narratives built on resentment. They always sound rehearsed. People can sense the bitterness behind the performance. Eventually their audience gets bored. And when the crowd leaves, they'll realize they've been shouting in an empty theater. That's when the obsession begins. They start studying you like a puzzle. They mimic your words, copy your style, analyze your tone. They think if they can understand your method, they can regain control. But what they don't realize is that authenticity can't be reverse engineered. You don't think your way through life. You feel your way through it. And feelings, true ones, can't be fabricated. They can fake your language, but not your frequency. They can imitate your posture, but not your presence. And that's what enrages them most. You've become the blueprint they can't replicate. They'll say you've changed, as if change is a crime. But transformation is what happens when awareness meets pain. You used to play small just to keep peace. Used to explain yourself to avoid being misunderstood. Then one day, you realize that misunderstanding is a weapon. People twist your clarity to maintain their comfort. So you withdrew your explanations, and the moment you did, you became powerful. Because mystery isn't about hiding, it's about mastering disclosure. You only reveal what can't be used against you. Everything else stays encrypted behind that smirk they can't decode. Let me tell you what you did. They tried to corner you with emotion, but you weaponized stillness. They tried to exhaust you with questions, but you replied with calm truths. They tried to guilt trip you, and you thanked them for revealing their weakness. You didn't match their energy. You absorbed it, analyzed it, redirected it. You turned emotional warfare into psychological alchemy. That's why they're furious. Because the moment you stopped reacting, you started ruling. Their entire plan was based on assumption. The assumption that you'd need closure, validation, revenge. But you didn't. You needed freedom. And freedom doesn't fight. It evaporates boundaries. You became too vast for their manipulation to contain. You saw the invisible strings they thought were invisible only to you. And instead of cutting them dramatically, you simply stopped dancing. Nothing infuriates a controller more than a puppet that drops the act mid-performance. Now every time they see you, they see the reflection of their failure. Every success of yours is an autopsy of their intent. Every calm smile is an indictment. They can't even mention your name without revealing that they still care. You haunt them, not because you want to, but because awareness lingers. You turned their plot into their mirror, and now every time they try to escape, they find themselves staring back. They might call you cruel for not engaging, but disengagement isn't cruelty, it's consequence. When someone tries to weaponize your empathy, withdrawing it is self-defense. You didn't punish them, you preserved yourself. That's something they'll never understand. They think power is domination, when in truth, power is restraint. Power is knowing you could destroy, and choosing not to, because destruction isn't victory, it's repetition. You've already evolved beyond that cycle. You see, people like them confuse complexity with intelligence. They think plotting makes them clever, but plotting is just overcompensation for lack of awareness. You don't need to plan manipulation when you understand behavior. You simply observe patterns and let probability do the work. You knew their next move before they did, because you watched not their words, but their insecurities. You noticed the twitch, the hesitation, the misplaced confidence. And the moment they underestimated you, they gave you access to the whole design. Now they wonder how you knew. They'll search your past, question your friends, dig for evidence. They'll call you paranoid for anticipating betrayal, when in truth you were simply paying attention. They can't accept that intuition is intelligence without proof. But you don't need proof when patterns repeat. That's how you outsmarted their trap. You trusted what they mocked, your instinct. They dismissed it as emotion, not realizing that emotion is data in disguise. You read that data better than any algorithm. Their rage now, it's not just anger, it's recognition. They recognize in you the power they pretended to have. They realize the hierarchy has inverted. You were once the target of their strategy, and now you're the reason strategy itself feels pointless. That's the irony. The more they try to outsmart you, the dumber they feel. Because intelligence without empathy is self-destructive. You understand motives. They only understand manipulation. That's why you win without trying. But victory isn't the goal here, is it? You didn't do it for revenge. You did it to end the cycle. To teach them, without teaching, that the game itself was an illusion. You didn't destroy their power. You made it irrelevant. Once you stopped reacting, they stopped existing in the form they created for you. Because manipulators depend on response. No reaction, no control, no identity. You erased them by standing still. Now they'll test you again. They'll send new faces, new temptations, new conversations designed to lure you back. But you'll recognize the energy. You'll see the pattern in the approach. The voice changes, but the vibration remains the same. They'll ask innocent questions that smell like traps. They'll test your boundaries, disguised as curiosity. But you've learned to see the questions behind the questions. You'll answer only with truth so simple it disarms complexity. Because simplicity, when wielded by awareness, is fatal to manipulation. That's your new weapon, clarity. It's what burns through deceit without theatrics. You've learned that calm articulation terrifies liars more than confrontation ever could. They expect rage. They can't process reason. You've mastered the tone that exposes, not explodes. And that tone, steady, certain, surgical, will echo in their minds long after the conversation ends. The truth is, you didn't just see through the trap. You redefined the concept of the trap itself. You turned every manipulation attempt into material for evolution. You taught them, without words, that control is an illusion granted by permission. And once permission is withdrawn, control collapses. That's why they're still angry. You withdrew consent to their narrative. You stopped letting them define who you are, what you feel, how you move. You became self-authoring, and nothing terrifies the orchestrators more than someone who writes their own script. They'll spend months trying to recreate the conditions that once fooled you. They'll craft new stories, use new pawns, even mimic humility. But the moment they approach, you'll feel it. Energy doesn't lie. You'll sense the dissonance, the unnatural rhythm of performance. You'll smile because now the trap entertains you. You've become what they feared most. Unpredictable awareness wrapped in composure. You can't be provoked, you can't be baited, you can't be tricked. You see everything as information, nothing as insult. That's not arrogance, it's mastery. And mastery, my friend, is isolation's reward. When you see too much, you stand alone. But that solitude isn't punishment. It's proof. Proof that you no longer need validation to confirm your vision. You've seen the machinery behind the illusion. You've seen the strings pulled by trembling hands. You've seen fear disguised as confidence, deceit disguised as charm. And you've realized that once you see the mechanism, you can never unsee it. That's the curse and the gift of awareness. You can't go back to innocence, but you can move forward into freedom. They'll call you heartless, but that's because they measure compassion by compliance. Real compassion is seeing through someone's chaos without joining it. You've learned to witness madness without becoming its mirror. You understand now that empathy without boundaries is self-erasure. You no longer rescue people from consequences. They built their traps. Let them live inside them. You're not cruel for walking away. You're wise for conserving your light. And still, they'll chase. Because obsession doesn't need access. It needs attention. They'll test every boundary just to confirm they still affect you. But you've mastered the art of non-response. You don't block